Hello everyone, very good afternoon to one and all. Welcome to StudyIQ IAS English. I hope that and this time we are live and you can hear my voice, you can watch me in this session live. So if it is absolutely fine, then kindly comment in the chat box so that we can understand it that it is coming absolutely correct. I hope that the session is live now. Alright, so today we are starting something very important for all the candidates who are seriously looking for getting some guidance about the mains answer writing part. Now this is something that most of the students are always confused about. This is something that most of the students they try to get at least some proper guidance about how to write an effective and how to write a proper answer. In fact, I have been trying to go live since 3 p.m. sharp, but the stream that I was trying to prepare and try to paste on the streaming app, that was not working properly. So that's why session got delayed. I hope it does not mind anyone. So we are starting this Fab 40 topics for the history mains answer writing. All right, everyone. And in this session, first of all, we will be trying to take an overview about the different features, like how many questions have been asked and which are the topics which are important for the subject of history, and we will also start in this session the overall analysis to approach towards the question. Okay, but before that let me tell you a very important thing, that here StudyIQ IAS is offering you a very comprehensive preparation guidance through the flagship prelims to interview batch, and in this batch, which is going to start from 22nd of July, okay, 22nd of July, here we are giving you a comprehensive coverage starting from the prelims examination up to the mains and interview program, available in the English and Hindi, all the three languages medium. And if we talk about the facilities that we are going to give here, that include basically the coverage of the GS syllabus along with the current affairs program, as well as the very specific mains residential program will be provided to you, where you are going to be called to this StudyIQ campus at NCR, and here you will be provided the accommodation, everything, so that you have to prepare without any worries. All right, so all these things, they are definitely going to incur some cost, but if you are using this code ASR live, then you are going to get this course at rupees 29,999. All right, now moving straight to the topic here. So first of all, if I am talking about the topic here, right? So here, the most important part that we are going to learn first of all, that is about general studies, the paper syllabus for a GS1 paper syllabus for the civil services mains examination. Here we will be seeing only the history portion, only the history part. All right, everyone. So in this part, you are going to get the first part, that is Indian culture, that will be explored in the terms of its diverse art forms, literature and architecture throughout history. Which means that suppose which are the details which are going to be asked there. So let me tell you that in that detail, they will be basically asking, right? They will be basically asking the questions related to the art and culture particularly, right? Art and culture particularly, which includes the following. Have a look. First of all, art and culture. So first of all, what are they going to ask? They are going to ask about the diverse art forms. Diverse art forms means the different art forms are going to be asked, which include the visual art and the performing arts. All right, visual arts and performing arts. Apart from that, if you are going to ask, they are asking the literature and the architecture throughout the history. So art forms, literature and architecture. These three things are going to form the foundation, form the basis of the entire syllabus of Indian culture. So in the visual arts, which all things are included? So they include the painting, okay, paintings. So paintings are covered from the ancient to modern, all right. Not just about the theoretical information, not just about the factual details, but also about the analytical approach, that how is the ancient painting, how are the medieval paintings, and how are the modern paintings, how are they interrelated. For example, there was a question probably in 2018 or 19 something, there was a question which was asking to compare the Mesolithic rock art forms with the present art forms, and it was asking to compare or give a comparative analysis of these two. So that means the questions could be asked in a very in-depth manner, in a very detailed manner, where you are supposed to present your analytical opinion about the different art forms in India. Apart from the visual arts in painting, you can also include into it the art such as the sculpture, okay, the sculpture art, all right. Not just that, in painting also you can have the classical paintings, you can have the folk paintings, such type of things are there, okay. So painting, sculpture, all right, and crafts, etc. So all these things are counted into the visual arts. Now talking about the performing arts, we have the performing arts in the form of the theatre, okay, the theatre, in the form of the dance, okay, music. For example, in 2013 there was a question about the Tandav Dance. So those who don't know about the different aspects related to the dance forms, for example, the dance forms, they are classical dance, folk dances. In classical dances also, if we talk about the dance, we have to understand about the elements of the dances. For example, in classical dances, we have the two different type of elements, including the Tandav element and the Lasya element. Tandav element and the Lasya element. So here you need to have a comprehensive understanding about the dimensions of our classical performing arts, including the dance, including the music. Music again can be classical, it can be folk music, okay. So what are the basic criteria? To inculcate any particular art form into the classical art or into the folk art? That also remains a question. But the purpose of learning these art forms, the main purpose, that is not just knowing about the informations about these art forms. The main purpose is to understand the socio-cultural dynamics, okay, socio-cultural dynamics during the period of the development of these type of arts. For example, if we talk about Bharatanatyam, then we have to understand that how does the Bharatanatyam signify the position of the women in the society during the time period when it was established as a dance form, okay. So basically, when any particular dance form, for example Kuchipudi or Kathak, so what were the cultural implications which were involved into the development and evolution of such art forms? That is more important to understand. The concept behind the development and evolution of the art forms, that is more important to understand, which we will try to understand through the various questions. And talking about the literature now, in literature you might have seen a question which was asked probably in 2000 21 or 22 maybe, there was a question related to the drawing of, right, or related to providing a description about the Indian society during the Persian age as reflected by the Persian literature. Okay, so Persian literature based question that has been asked in the previous year examinations in the mains GS1. Similarly, right, similarly, if we try to categorize the literature as well, we can have a simple classification in the form of the ancient literature, in the form of the medieval literature, okay, and in the form of the modern literature, right. However, we can also categorize the literature on the basis of the group of the languages. Like in the ancient literature, we can have primarily the Sanskrit literature, okay, we can have the Pali and Prakrit literature, and we can have the Tamil literature, okay, Tamil literature. In the medieval period as well, we can have the different religious, different regional and religious literary traditions, okay, literary traditions. Now try to understand one thing, that when we are talking about the medieval literature becomes extremely crucial as a subject. Why so? Because the medieval literature, that will be the indication, that will be the evidence of the diversity in our society, the diversity, the divergence of the different, the divergence of the cultures or the cultural emigrations, they became the common feature during the medieval time period. For example, from Prakrit, we saw the development of several regional languages, and similarly from Tamil, we saw the development of several other regional languages. And the medieval period, that encompasses the literary traditions which developed into the regional languages like the Bangla, like Odia, like Telugu, Kannada, okay, Malayalam literature, okay. Not just that, not just the development of the regional literature is important to understand, but also the development of the themes of the literature in the medieval period, even that is very, very important. There was a question in the UPSC previous year's mains examination, and the question was related to the ancient literature, that is basically related to the Sangam, right, related to Tamil Sangam literature. And here what had they asked? They had asked about the development of the socio-cultural and economic features during the Sangam age or during the Sangam period. The question specifically indicated that the Sangam literary traditions are not having much political significance. However, they are very, very crucial in order to understand the contemporary socio-cultural growth and development as well as the economic progress and evolution. Okay, so that was the question. Similarly, in the another year's question paper, there was a question related to the tradition of Bhakti and Sufi, specifically about the literary tradition of the Bhakti and Sufi. That means which type of literature did it inspire, which type of devotional creations did it inspire. These type of interconnected topics, they have been the favorites of UPSC for many years. Similarly, if we talk about the other languages, so some of the languages like Sanskrit, like Persian, like Tamil or Prakrit, right, these languages over the different years, different eras, they have been the official languages of India. They have been the most prominently used royal languages in India, and therefore we can expect a question connecting the Indian history or the descriptions about the Indian history, particularly society and her people, in or through the literary traditions developed by the linguistic scholars of Parsi, right, Persian, linguistic scholars of Sanskrit or Tamil, etc. One more dimension which is important to understand here, they had asked a question related to the recreation of the history or reconstruction of the history with the help of the travel documents. So guys, remember one thing, the travelers, they are very important source of information, right, that we have about our past, and our world. So any significant traveler who came to India, wrote a special book, even though if he is not a significant one, but still if he wrote a book about India, that becomes extremely crucial to understand that such topics and such people are the favorite most people of UPSC. We cannot read them or we cannot read about them in the books, but we can expect them in the UPSC's question paper. Alright everybody, for example, there was a question, the contribution of the Chinese and Arab travelers, right, Chinese and Arab travelers probably in the reconstruction of the historical details about India. Something that type of question, they had asked. Okay, so if you remember that question, then it's very good. If you don't remember that question, don't worry, because we will do all the previous year questions which have been asked from the Indian history, culture, etc. Okay everyone, then talking about the architecture. Alright, talking about the architecture. So most importantly the Buddhist architecture, then the royal architecture, royal architectures means what? The important dynasties and their contributions, like the Mauryas, like the Guptas, like the Pallavas, Cholas, Rashtrakutas, okay, Vakatakas, got it, Chalukyas. So such type of different dynasties, at least I can say that at least 8 to 10 important dynasties and major cultural traditions in the architectural pattern which they promoted, what were the features of that, okay, like that you can have. You can also prepare for the temple architecture, right, temple architecture, or I should say that as the devotional architecture, okay, devotional architecture. And guys, remember the devotional architecture, that was the direct outcome, it was the direct result of the medieval thought process, where the god and the man, they were related to the god centric, okay, god centric approach. Here the life of a person that was dependent upon the religious sanctity and the activities of the person, the life of the person, achievements of the person, they were all regarded as the direct outcome of the mercy of the God upon such people, right? Therefore, you will observe that any particular ruler, if he or she wanted to create a dominant place for himself or herself in the society, in the history, in the economy, among the mind of the people, what did they do? They constructed the enormous structures, elaborate detailings, carvings and hard work. Everything was involved just to create a grand name for that particular ruler. So ruler wanted the name, but not in his own name. Why? But through the construction of the temples of the god. Apart from that, the temples were also constructed important for the socio-cultural aspect of our society. That is why you have to understand in a very wide, right, very vast horizon and very wide scope understanding is required in order to have the reach of the question. All right. Apart from the temple architecture, which you can further categorize into the Nagar style, Dravid style, Vesar style. The Nagar one can further be divided into the Kaling style, Chandela style, Maru Gurjar or Solanki style. Dravidian architecture can be divided into the Pallav architecture, Chola architecture, okay, then Vijayanagar, Pandyas, all right. Similarly, you can have several other type of subcategories. In the Bedar architecture, right, Vedaras, you can have the Chalukyas, right, you can have the Chalukyas, and after that you can also have the contributions of the even Rashtrakutas and some of the Vijayanagar temples, some, right, Yadavas, etc., and Kakatiyas, etc., Hoysalas. So you don't need to remember each and every dynasty. You just need to remember the cultural evolution, the changes in the pattern which took place during the different dynasties and their rules, and you will automatically understand it by a simple method that why did the change which was done, why did that change occur in that specific time period. That is what we are trying to inculcate in all of your minds. Got it, everybody? Now let me tell you that this is going to be a very serious session. It's not going to be something very funny or very entertaining, because we cannot expect the entertainment, at least in the UPSC Mains examination. We can have all the entertainment in the world on all other occasions, but not in the UPSC Mains examination. Remember that. Now talking about the other parts of the history. So modern Indian history will be there. Okay, the modern Indian history will be there, including the questions from the mid 18th century. That means from the 1750s, right, the decade of 1750s until the present day. That will be examined focusing on the significant events. Remember the point: significant events, number 1, personalities, number 2, and issues, number 3. Significant events like the Quit India movement, like Salmon Commission, like the jail of Gangadhar Tilak, or Gadar Party incidents, or Komagata Maru, Jallianwala Bagh incidents, right? Such type of famous and important incidents, events. Okay, everybody? Personalities. So there will be questions related to the personalities. For example, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, comparison with Mahatma Gandhi. This question was asked in UPSC. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, his contribution in the freedom fight, comparison with Mahatma Gandhi, question was asked. Mahatma Gandhi himself, has he not been there? What would have been the outcome of our freedom struggle? If he was not there, what and how could have been this freedom struggle different? That was the question asked in UPSC. Okay. Similarly, the contribution of Ravindranath Tagore, who is often considered as a non-nationalist person. In fact, he was not very much supportive of the nationalist approach, because he saw that as a conservative approach. So what was the contribution of Ravindranath Tagore into the nationalist movement? Such type of tricky questions they are going to ask. Exactly, Sandeepan. And the issues. For example, the non-participation of the various stakeholders of India's political freedom or India's political fraternity. Despite being from the India's political fraternity, why did various rulers not participate into the revolt of 1857? This type of question. Or was this revolt of 1857 an event which erupted out of nowhere, or was it the culmination of 100 years of distrust, unrest, shimmering anger and rage against the British rule? Obviously, the second choice is more correct, and yes, that has been a question as well. That was a question asked by UPSC, that was the revolt of 1857 a result of several small scale rebellions which had occurred earlier than this revolt. Obviously, that kind of question that can be asked. Another few issues, the issues such as the lack of the women participation or the contribution of the women participation, the contribution of the minorities and the depressed classes. Got it? Why were the minorities and depressed classes in the need of separate attention? What was the solution that was provided during this time period? All these type of issue based thing, communalism, right, capitalism, problems related to the communalism, all these type of questions can be asked. Got it? Now, then the freedom struggle of the India will be analyzed in depth, exploring the various stages, important contributions from the different regions of the country. Remember this line very, very carefully, because this line can decide that which type of question can you expect in the mains examination particularly. Guys, remember one point, that if you are going to prepare for the civil services examination, then remember one thing, that freedom struggle, okay, freedom struggle and its ideologies, they are extremely important. For example, there was a question that discuss the new trends and features which were introduced during the 20s of the second, and during the 20s of second millennium. Okay, so here, right, 20th second millennium or previous century. So strange type of formation of the question that was there, like during the previous century of the last millennium, in the second decade, there was the emergence of the new thoughts and currents into our freedom struggle. So what were those new thoughts and currents? Guys, very simple question. This is a very simple question, but just the language of question was so much entangled that it appeared a little bit awkward. For example, they are simply asking the new ideas and trends introduced during 1920s. Okay, so there you can write a lots and lots of things. For example, you can simply write about the Gandhian socialism or Gandhian ideology was there, or Gandhianism was there. You can write down the socialism was there. Okay, socialism was there. Then you can write down the communism came into the place. Communism was there. Then you can say the politics of union. Then communalism was there. Okay, communalism was there. Okay, increased role of women and economic policies, they became integrated with the political control. So such type of several new things, they could be introduced, they could be mentioned into this type of topic or this type of question. Okay, everybody. So they can ask you such questions where you have to utilize the potential of your brain, where you have to utilize the memory, or you have to examine the memory of your brain, that how much do you remember about a particular incident, about a particular event, about a particular principle. Okay, everybody. Now after that, if we talk about the other topics, so here we can say post-independence period, the post-independence period of India that will be studied, including its consolidation and reorganization within the country. Remember one point, that the consolidation and reorganization of the country, this is the very, very, very important topic. Definitely, Shanu Bajpayee, you can use the flow charts to explain the answers. That will be a very, very effective and very efficient method of presenting your answer. For example, let us assume that there is a question which says that the post-independence consolidation and reorganization within the country, they were the most formidable challenges which were almost completely resolved by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Now this question is the question of personalities also. This question is the question of a political integrity as well, and this question is the question of consolidation and reorganization within the country, that's also. So you have to connect the different bridges to make a grand bridge from where you can reach to the other side of the question, that means towards the answer. All right, everybody. Now, so in the history of the world, they will be covering the events from the 18th century, such as the industrialization, such as the World War, withdrawal of the national boundaries, colonization, decolonization, political philosophies like communism, capitalism and socialism, which means very simple, that period of the world history is important for India since when the India became a regular trading partner, all-time trading partner, and then India became a colony of a European country. And that is why the European ideologies such as communism, capitalism and socialism, etc., they became the important factors in our freedom struggle, and we have to cover them in order to understand the true nature of our freedom struggle. Okay, everyone, getting the point here or not? Yes, everybody, is it understood to everybody? I have explained the syllabus probably in a very comprehensive manner, and I hope that once you are done with this class, once you will get an opportunity or time to revise these things, then these things will be stuck in your mind, and that is what I want. Okay, now let us understand about the trend analysis in the mains, history and culture. Okay, the trend analysis in the mains in the history and culture. So you can see here, this is 2013, okay, 2013, then 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, then 18, then 19, okay, 20, okay, 2020, 2021 and 2022. Okay, so you can see it very clearly that in 2013 the number of questions in total, they were extremely high. If you can see one thing, that some of the questions, they are overlapping in the nature. For example, the questions that the communalism, right? Communalism resides deep into our society. Trace its origin and solution as a cultural problem of society or as a historical problem in our society. Okay. Good afternoon, Samar. So they will be asking such type of question where any topic is spanning over the different time periods, like they are asking to give the cultural history or the historical details about a particular system. So that will become the historical topic. However, if they are asking only about the system, then it becomes the sociology topic. So sociology and history, sometimes they do the overlapping. In history only, if we see carefully, we can see the overlapping of ancient and medieval or medieval and modern, such type of things. So overall we can say that 12 to 15 questions out of 20, they belonged to history, and I can say that this was probably the bumper offer where you got all the questions from history only. 2014, it was having approximately 11 questions, still very high, 11 questions. 2015, so it had no questions, right? It had no questions coming from the post-independence, post-independence. So no question from the post-independence. In 2014, no question from the world history wala part. Okay, from the world history. Here also, post-independence is missing. Here we have all the 4 segments, that is modern history, that is the art and culture, this is the art and culture, this is the world history, and this is the post-independence. Here once again we have all the 4, okay, modern maximum number, then ancient art and culture only 1 question, world history only 1 question, okay, and the post-independence 2 questions. So overall how many? Overall 5 to 7 to 9. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 9. Total 9 questions in 2017 only from the history part. Paper 1 also includes about the geography, society, these things as well. But only history and culture, 9 questions. Now, so similarly you can have the look on 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Overall we can say, right, that in 2019 how many questions were there? 7 questions were there. 2020 there were only 3 questions. 2021 there were 6 questions. 2022 there were like 2 plus 3, 5 and 1, 6 question. So in the last 3 years we have not seen more than 5-6 questions, which means a decent balance will be maintained. Alright. Now there is a very genuine question by Shanu Vajpayee, that how to catch the word limits in 150 word answer. Only the major points should be written. Shanu, if there is a question that has to be answered in 150 words, there is a trick that I am going to tell you. Do not count and run behind the word limit. Count your lines, count your space, count your lines, count your space. If you are going to get a copy by UPSC, alright, so they will be giving you a copy where you will have this type of margin. Okay, you will have this type of margin. Okay. Now what do you have to do? You just have to consider it that if you are getting a 150 words question, right, that you have to write the answer, you will utilize only this much of the space, only this much of the space, only that much, 1.5. If you are finishing your answer within this time period, or within this space, if you are able to understand while making your answer that will it will it be over by we are reaching on the second page? If that is the design and prototype of your answer, be happy, because you have achieved what maximum people are unable to achieve. But in this session, I will tell you that how to complete the answer of the most difficult questions also in just 150 words. Very small limit is there. Okay, everyone. Now, so if you got the idea, now let us see some important topics. I have already discussed with you the important topics. This is I have made only for some of the students who want the written substance. So for them I have compiled the super hits of history. Super hits of history means highly important topics of history. And this super hits of history, they include in the modern period, Gandhi, his movements, ideology, impact, the inclusions means the ideas which were acceptable under Gandhi's leadership, and the diversities, the ideas which were not acceptable under the Gandhi's leadership. For example, the ideas of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, they were not acceptable. Okay, everyone. Now, various aspects of the socio-religious reforms. Socio-religious reforms are probably the most important part, because they are the actual reason of the transformation of medieval India into the modern India. Transformation of the medieval India into the modern India. Okay. Now, ideological dimensions of the freedom struggle. So, the freedom struggle, was it simply a political struggle where some of the politicians of India, they were fighting against the British politician? Or if we try to make a in-depth analysis, then we can understand that it was not as simple as it looks. Probably it was also consisting of so many ideological dimensions. For example, the struggle against the feudal mindset, for example, the struggle against the autocratic rule, the struggle against the exploitation of the society, people and economy. So many things were there. However, we just have to understand the ideological dimensions of the freedom struggle. Similarly, in art and culture, as I told you, Buddhist, then imperial, then literature and other sources, and past to present connection is very, very important. For example, the same questions as I told you, that it was asking about the impact of the Mesolithic art form, or the connection between the Mesolithic art form and the present art form. That type of questions are coming more and more in the recent years. Post-independence and world history, consolidation and integration is very, very important. The nationalism, development of constitution and changes in the constitution. Apart from that, in the world history is having two very, very important topics. That is both world wars and the incidents which occurred between these two world wars. The first thing. Second thing, that is the 18th and the 19th century world, where there were lots and lots of changes, revolutions, evolutions, all things were occurring. So that became very, very important. All right, everyone. So here are some important questions. As you can see, that why was there a sudden spurt in the famines in the colonial India since the mid 18th century? Give reasons. Now guys, let me tell you, in the name of the reasons, you can simply start with the agrarian policies of the British East India Company. Agrarian policies. Or the better answer that could be, okay, that could be, right, the question is exactly asking that why is there a sudden spurt in the famines in the colonial India. Okay, so in the introduction you can write that India or Indian agriculture is dependent upon the monsoon. Therefore, famines have been frequently occurring even in the medieval and ancient India. However, their numbers immediately rocketed or skyrocketed when there was the beginning of the British rule. Okay, the British rule. And the major reasons behind it. So you introduced this answer and you saw the major reasons. So you are coming directly to the point. You are coming directly to the point. Here you can simply give the reasons like the British agrarian policies. Okay, British agrarian policies. Then unsympathetic administration. Similarly, discriminatory policies. However, the discriminatory policies causing the famines, obviously discriminatory policies were discriminating towards the people who were rich and people who were poor. So it was very often that the canals, etc., they were mostly supplying the water to such people who could afford it, or who could be considered more important than the ordinary peasants, right? So you can also write down several other reasons like the decline of the rural economy, decline of the urban prosperity, decline of the all the consequences of the British rule that can be mentioned into this particular answer. Okay. Then why did the armies of the British East India Company, which were comprising mostly of the Indian soldiers, win consistently against the more numerous and better equipped armies of the Indian rulers? Because of the advanced weaponries, because of the advanced commanding features, tremendous leadership was there, all right, awareness about the common spirit of brotherhood and nationalism was there, and at the same time there were several drawbacks that Indian kings were sharing. That is the large army but old tactics, large army but less efficiency, okay, large army but slow and sluggish movement and attack. That is why they could not sustain against the much advanced, fast, swift and very efficient East India Company's army. So guys, these questions are just for the purpose of introduction. From tomorrow onwards, 3 p.m. live, I will be coming up with my first topic for the modern history answer writing program, and do not forget to join that program. But remember one thing as well, that if you are willing to get more than that, if you are willing to approach or reach our exclusive offerings for you, then you can join our prelims to interview batch, that is called P2I batch here, which is provided into the English and Hindi, and starting from 22nd of July in the evening. Okay, so you just have to enroll in this course by using the code ASR live. About the features and etc., features and other details, you can check the given link in the comment box, and you can also visit our website or download our application StudyIQ. Okay, so guys, that is all in today's session. Thank you so much for watching it. If you want this PDF file, you can join my Telegram channel on this particular address. Here it will be available for all of you to download it, to analyze it in the descriptive details with the annotations that I have made into the class. So thank you so much for watching it, guys. Take care, bye-bye, and let's meet after a few minutes on 4 p.m. on the same channel with the next episode of the Indian History Class 11th Old NCERT. Okay, everyone. So thank you so much for watching it. Take care, bye-bye, and have a great day. Jai Hind. Thank you.